Tuesday evening, and I had plenty of requests over the last few days to actually broadcast a little bit in the evening as well. So I wanted to do that for those of you who've asked about it. But this sort of broadcast doesn't really fit within the GeekVloggz channel as such, because it's just me sitting back having a casual chat with you guys and girls, and telling you what I've been looking at on the internet this evening, because my evening is in relax mode now. I'm actually waiting for, well, not waiting, but I'm going to be watching one of my favourite programmes a little bit later on, and I wanted to talk to you about that as well. But also, throughout today, I have actually found a few programs that, a few products that I also want to talk to you about, because I think it's very, very interesting. Before I do that, I just want to tweet out a link to this particular broadcast, just so that you know that I have gone live. I don't think I've got any notifications set up for this channel to actually push out. So let me just type this in. Why am I doing this awkwardly? I'm using my laptop at the moment. If anyone else is in the chat, which I can see a few of you in here as well, if you would like to tweet out a link to this as well, I'd really appreciate it. Hello to Scott, of course, thanks very much for tuning in, and Gameplay Magic, thank you for tuning in as well. I hope the audio's okay. I know the video's not great. I'm streaming this from the iPad Pro, as I do for most of these streams in the evening. So let me just tweet this out. Leica. It's been a very, very busy day for me. What's the hashtag for I'm a Celebrity? We'll do that one. That will do. And the tweet goes out. So hopefully a few of you will have now been notified that I am in fact streaming. So how is everybody tonight? The audio's fine according to Morgan Wright. That's thanks to the little Rode Smart Lav. Video could be better. In fact, I did this last time. I don't know why I didn't do it before starting the live broadcast. But let me just put some additional light on. It's never very bright with just the one light on. And I'm always a perfectionist when it comes to video quality. Don't ask me why, but I always just like for things to look good. Oh, that's much better. Much, much clearer. Awesome. I found that this transition that I've made, actually, because somebody did actually ask in the comments of a couple of my live broadcasts today as to why I've transitioned across from doing pre-recorded videos to doing mainly live broadcasts. And I did cover this in a couple of the videos on the GeekVloggz channel. But basically, I see there being a lot more value in live broadcasts to you, the viewers, not necessarily to me as a content creator. And I found a real big disconnect between sort of pre-recording videos, and I was sometimes sort of 7 to 10 days in advance, and then some of those products would be sort of out of date by the time the video was published. And also, by the time it went live on the channel, I'm talking about the GeekVloggz channel here, I found that that there was sort of that disconnect between me and the video as well, because I had to then remember what I had talked about in that video when I was responding to comments. Whereas now it's a lot more instant. I get a lot more gratification by putting something out as it happens, and also being able to talk to you, the viewers, as you chat throughout the broadcast. I just find it a lot more interesting, And I think from the feedback I've got so far from you guys and girls that you like the fact that you've got this interaction with me as well. John from Front Page Tech says, I definitely miss your more polished videos. A good example of me and my polished videos was at the beginning of this broadcast. I don't know if you just tuned in, John, but I wasn't happy with the lighting. So even with a relaxed sit back and chat to you in the evening over on my other channel, the channel you're watching this on, I still find that I still want things to look good and sound good. Thus, I've plugged in a lav mic as well. I know what you mean though, John, and they're not going to go away completely. I still will be doing some pre-recorded videos, especially at times like in the run-up to Christmas, because I want time off for spending with my family. And also around other sort of holiday times as well. There will be times when I don't want to broadcast every single day because everybody needs a break, everyone needs a holiday, everyone needs family time. And this is why I find it hard to actually broadcast in the evenings. And in fact, it was somebody, it wasn't a complaint, it was just somebody sort of saying to me, could you do some evening broadcast? Because I always rush home from work and I missed tuning in and communicating with you via chat. They wanted to be part of the broadcast, and I take that on board. That's why I'm primarily doing this evening, apart from wanting to talk about a few other things. But my evenings, the reason I don't broadcast very late on in the day UK time, apart from the odd occasion, is that my day or my schedule starts at roughly about 5 a.m. GMT, where I start my day and then I launch straight into work mode, and I work pretty much throughout the whole day until about 6 p.m. It's currently 7 p.m. in the UK, so but I work pretty much through till 6 p.m. Then I break off and then it's family time. You know, it's a sit down meal with family, and then I do a little bit of work in the evening just behind the scenes to prepare for the next day. So it's something where I don't broadcast in the evenings because that is sort of my downtime, and I've already been working for sort of, 14, 15 hours. This angle isn't very flattering, is it? I have actually been on a little bit of not a diet, but an eating sensibly thing lately. I've been eating a lot more fruit, a lot more vegetables, a lot less red meat as well. And I have lost about 9 pounds, believe it or not. So, but this angle makes me look like I'm not 9 pounds less, makes me look like I'm 9 months pregnant. Not a very flattering look, but I'm not going to change things. I'll leave the iPad where it is. So anyway, there was a few things I wanted to talk to you about this evening. And if you want to chime in the chat, then please do. There is Super Chat there if you want to use Super Chat, but regular chat is fine. I answer as many questions as I can. You just being here is enough. John Bushell, that's very funny. John Bushell says £9 in a week. No, it's been £9 in about 10 to 12 weeks. So almost 3 months of really focusing on what I'm eating, what I'm consuming, and cutting out all the junk foods. It's very easy. When you're self-employed and you work for yourself, and I do a lot of... or I did do a lot of work editing before, not so much since I've been doing the live broadcasts, but you find yourself snacking all the time. So it was really cutting out those snacks. And when there is a snack now, more often than not, it's like an orange or a clementine or a satsuma, or a piece of fruit. So just really looking at what I'm eating rather than just eating junk food, which is nice. I absolutely love crisps and chocolate. In fact, this is chocolate that I purchased today, and I just have a little bit of this, just a tiny bit of this every day. So very, very small amount, and it's very high percentage of cocoa in there as well. So that's my little treat that I have every day almost, or every couple of days. So anyway, the first thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I know I've talked to you about this before, about switching away from using Mac OS. You know, if you watch my videos on Geekinoids, that I'm switching from iOS to Android. In fact, tomorrow I've had it confirmed I will be taking delivery of the OnePlus 5T. So there will be an early unboxing and first impressions video about that over on the Geekinoids channel. I've talked to you about switching from Windows or switching from Mac to Windows, and my journey for doing that before with the desktop machine. I had an Alienware machine. Didn't go very well at all. Not well at all. It was very, very poor, in fact. So it wasn't a good experience. But there has been another computer that has piqued my interest, and you'll probably be able to guess, in fact, what it is. And that is the Microsoft Surface Book 2. Now, I did a lot of reading about this, about the specifications. I've watched a few videos on it. There are two different models. There's like a 13.5-inch version and a 15-inch version. And the reason I've decided to possibly wait a few more weeks, I think it's sort of mid-December, it's due in the UK for the 15-inch version, is I've got the need, I need a high power laptop. And I'll tell you the reason why. And the reason I'm not going to put my money into a MacBook Pro after I've told you why I need this sort of portable powerhouse now. Now, I'm currently on my MacBook Pro here reading the comments. It's a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and I tried doing some live broadcasts from it last week when I had issues with some software on my Mac Pro. Stupidly, I'd upgraded my Mac Pro to Mac OS High Sierra, and my streaming or broadcasting software wouldn't work. So I had to use my MacBook Pro, and the 13-inch version wasn't good enough, wasn't powerful enough to give me the processing power and the frame rates on the video for a live broadcast using the software that I use. So I was really disappointed. I thought it would be up to the job. So I need a high power laptop, primarily as a backup, but also because I do want to do some live broadcasts in the studio as well. I've got my nice white desk in the studio, also the yellow chair, the desk that I sit behind as well, with a nice white wall behind me. And I want to do certain videos live from the studio, as well as from the editing room as well. So I've been really tempted to get a high-end laptop, and I can't decide which one. You know, I'm not. This is outside of my comfort zone. I'm not clued up. You know, I don't research what good PC specs are, what's a good laptop. I know through research now what would be capable, because I've got the system specs I need to do the live broadcasts. But certainly I'm no expert when it comes to Windows-based machines. And I don't want to overspend, but then I don't want to buy. I've heard so many nightmare stories about other manufacturers' laptops and about how they don't last very long. You know, the longevity of them working well don't last very long. So I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to do it, I may as well go all in and get something that will possibly serve me well into the future, you know. So that's what I'm really looking at, and maybe I won't go that way. Maybe I won't go for the Surface Book 2. Maybe I will look at another manufacturer. I've heard like good things about Razer laptops, but I've also heard that when you're using them and the processor is put under strain, you do get sort of quite a lot of fan noise, whereas the Surface Book 2 is meant to run fairly quietly, still with some fan noise, but a different level of fan noise. John Bushell says, me too, but I'm not sure they are overpriced. Lovely screen, high power, etc., but can spec them to 3K. Yeah, they do seem to be asking a very premium price. Front Page Tech, what software do you use to live stream? I actually use Wirecast. I was using not the free version, but the Wirecast Play version, so the very cheap version of Wirecast, which isn't, and I should have done my research first, but isn't compatible with Mac OS High Sierra. I am actually bringing you a video of Wirecast Pro in about a couple of weeks' time, once I familiarise myself with that software, which does work with Mac OS High Sierra. A little bit of an overkill for the type of videos that I do, but it gives me that expandability for if I want to add virtual cameras and additional cameras as well. And that will run on Mac or Windows. So that's what I'm looking at doing. Just bear with me 1 second, because it's evening. I'm now into evening mode, so I just need to respond to this. Talk amongst yourselves in the chat just for a second. So anyway, back to the chat. Front page check. I have a contact at Wirecast if you'd like to talk to them. I highly recommend vMix. We started using it and it's amazing. Very low CPU usage as well. I will certainly look in to vMix. In fact, I'm going to put it into a search now. Thank you for your offer, John, as well, about Wirecast, but that is all sorted. I've got contacts there as well. So, but I do thank you for offering that to me. Ivan Solly, hi Dave, bad lighting. I improved the lighting. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm in my evening mode at the moment and relaxing, just having a casual chat with you guys. So, whilst I talk to you about the next thing that really piqued my interest today, if you've got any questions at all, then please do leave them in the chat and I'll try and answer as many as I can. Now, if you know me well, you will indeed know that I really love my photography. I primarily use things like this, Micro Four Thirds cameras. This is my Panasonic G80 or G85 as it's known in some countries. I also use the GH5 as well. And I just love the videos that they produce. Not so good on photos. I've also got a secret little passion for Leica cameras as well. In fact, the best camera that I've experienced with regards to smaller sort of cameras, but still with a nice large sensor, is the Leica Q. Well, Leica today, and this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but they introduced or gave us details about the imminent availability of the Leica CL, which is an interchangeable lens camera, a mirrorless camera indeed, with 24 megapixels and an APS-C size sensor. It is very expensive because it's a Leica. It's got a built-in viewfinder and a touchscreen. 2.36 million dots on the viewfinder, and it just looks very intuitive. It's got some nice control dials on the top and also a little tiny screen on the top as well. And of course you've got the availability then to use some really gorgeous Leica glass, some really nice Leica lenses. The touchscreen's also got these swipe gestures as well. I've sort of been reading a few early reviews about this, and not everyone likes the gesture control, but it's certainly piqued my interest. I'll put a link down. I can't put a link down there for you, but have a search for the Leica CL. I was going to put it in the chat, but I haven't given myself privileges to do that. So do check that out. The Leica CL. Let me know what you think. It is just a really amazing looking camera. It looks very, very nicely built as well, and just looks fantastic. Absolutely love it. Anyway, there's also something else I want to talk to you about, which is what I'm waiting to start on television. It is another secret little thing that I absolutely love. Now, I don't like a lot of reality TV shows. I know they're all set, or not set up. I know there are things that are done behind the scenes to make them entertaining for us. Things like Big Brother, done it, watched it, it's not as enjoyable now. Things like The Apprentice, I like it, but it's only better in the latter stages. But the programme I really do look forward to every year is I'm a Celebrity. I just love it. I just really like it. I watch it obviously for seeing people squirm when they're dealing with living in the jungle. I also love it that Ant and Dec present the show, and they just make me laugh so much. But I've been watching it since it started a couple of days back. Not sure if it's available outside of the UK. But there's a few people I really like in it. And if you watch I'm a Celebrity, maybe you want to chime in with who you like as well in this year's I'm a Celebrity. I really like Amir Khan, purely because he's a big chap. You know, he's a championship boxer, really burly, really strong, but he's scared of snakes and insects, which is fine. Everyone's got their fears. I don't like spiders. I absolutely hate spiders, and I probably couldn't stand snakes either. But seeing him be terrified means that he's got chosen to do one of the challenges again this evening, and it's just a great entertainment factor. It really is. I also like Shappi Khorsandi. I think she is a really genuine and funny person, and I think she's going to go far in this year's show. And I also really like Vanessa White. I think that she's come from a background of being famous at a young age, obviously being part of a group, and then she's had that transition of not being in the group. It was like a girl band, and then being sort of thrown into the jungle. And I think she just seems like a very genuine person, and I think she'll go far. I think she will go far, and I hope that the show does a lot for maybe relaunching a new career for her, because I think she's just a very genuine person. That's just the three that I picked out so far. I like them all, actually. I think they're all very, very entertaining, and as a whole, I just think I'm a Celebrity is a really nice format of programmes. So let me know if you watch that anyway in the chat. Scott Burgess says, what sort of things do you enjoy to photograph? Well, it's a mix, really. I love taking nice portraits, but mainly, I suppose, landscapes. I love using wide angle. I love the wide, expansive angle of a landscape photo and getting as much detail with an interesting focal point in that landscape photo as well. And I also like taking sort of sunsets and sunrises. It's just capturing that really special moment. Something that really piqued my interest throughout my years of using Olympus cameras. I haven't been doing it for a couple of years now though, but going back maybe 3 or 4 years, I really got into street photography. Again, capturing a certain glance from somebody or something happening that looks out of the ordinary and what would normally be an ordinary scene really interests me, and I just absolutely love it. I just love that you're capturing a moment. It's so different to video. You've still got that framing aspect, so when you frame a video, if you put the thought into it, you can get a really nice look to your video. But I think it's the fact that you're capturing that moment. With a video you can rewind and watch it again and play out the story, but with a photo you have to tell the story in a single frame. So it just really is just magical. It really is. And then you're capturing that moment forever, you know. And I think it's a shame more people don't actually print their photos as well. I tend to print my photos maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I go through the ones that I favorited and print them out so that everyone can enjoy them, because otherwise, for the most part, people capture on their smartphone and only they get to view it unless they, you know, show their photos at a get-together or a gathering. So that's what I like to take. That's a really good question as well. Morgan Wright just searched the Leica CL. Reminds me of the Leica 1 and 2 from about 90 to 100 years ago, from when they first started. My grandfather has a bunch of them, and M3 with lenses. Awesome, absolutely awesome. I would love to see your grandfather's camera and lens collection. That'd be amazing. My dad was very much into photography as well. When he was alive, he took many photos, and he used to use Pentax cameras, and used to capture some gorgeous shots, mainly family orientated photography, but he really loved his cameras, really looked after them as well. Scott Burgess, have you ever thought about maybe an Instagram page that showcases some of the photos you take? I, for one, think many others would definitely be interested in following. Yeah, I have considered that. The thing that stopped me doing it is that I've shared a lot of my life online and a lot of my passion for technology, and that doesn't detract from my enjoyment of it, but there are certain things that I wanted to keep for myself, and even like my love for watches and timepieces. If you watch my watch lifestyle channel, I've got a real passion for timepieces, for mechanical automatic watches, and the detail that goes into the manufacture of them, and the design and how they work is just magical to me. And for a long time I held off sharing that online because I wanted to keep that for myself. That was like something that only I knew about. But it crept into my videos, and then more and more people asked me to start sharing like details about what type of watches I liked and the aesthetics of them and how they worked, and what looked good with a casual outfit, what looks good when you dress up and you're going out for a dinner or a business meeting, you know, things like that. And I ended up creating the Watch Lifestyle channel, as it's now known, to share that online. And again, it hasn't detracted from my enjoyment of my watches, but it's yet another piece of me that isn't for me. It's sort of become something for everyone to enjoy. So it's difficult, and I think what makes it more difficult is obviously you get criticised for what you share online as well, because everyone has an opinion about what you do. And when you get a bad comment about something that maybe you've purchased for yourself, not so much on the GeekVloggz channel because I'm just sharing information about what I'm passionate about, but it's not necessarily what I've invested my hard-earned money in. But certainly when you get somebody say, oh, that's not a good watch, or it doesn't look good, I know I've made the decision to buy that myself, but it still does affect me still a little bit. So sharing my photography online would again be putting that out there for critique again. And I'm not saying I will never do it, but it just needs some thought. Maybe I will in the future. What's your opinion on that anyway? Do you think I'm overthinking it? I'm not so sure. Not so sure whether to do that. But anyway, John from Front Page Tech shared some information about vMix earlier on. And I want to have a little look at this whilst I'm online with you guys. So vMix, John shared this because you can actually use it for live production and streaming. There's a free trial. It works with the likes of YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. John said it's very low on CPU usage as well. They also do reference systems, live interview systems for up to 8 guests. Very cool. Let me just show you this on my screen. So this is what I'm talking about at the moment. So it's called vMix. So that is possibly an option. Let me see the price of this. Oh wow, it's fairly well priced as well. So you can get a basic free software to try. The HD version comes in at $60, and if you go up to HD with certainly more features, then you're looking at $350. So either $60 or $350 for the software, but you do get a 60-day free trial. So that's well worth knowing. I might give that a try in the future, but certainly I'm really happy with how Wirecast actually works for me at the moment. John says, so John is still in the broadcast, that's really good to know. For example, instead of having Brian call Skype and capturing Skype with Wirecast, Brian can just call into vMix and it's a done deal. That's really good. So it's got the call feature as well. Has it got the call feature in that $150 one? No, it hasn't. So you have to go up to the $350 and then it does one caller. I know why John suggested it. I know your trick, John. John has suggested vMix because he wants to call in to one of my videos. That is the real reason, isn't it, John? Isn't it? Come on, admit it. Put it in the chat. Scott Burgess says, I think you have justified your side of the argument. This is referring to my photography, and totally agree with you there, Dave. It's nice to keep some things to yourself and not put everything online. Very, very true. and John has admitted that I've got him. I've exposed John for why he's actually suggesting to me about the vMix software. I'm only joking. You know I'm only joking. What's your opinion, John, seeing as you are tuned into the live broadcast of the Microsoft Surface Book 2? I've never asked John this, and myself and John do chat quite frequently privately as well. I've never asked John whether he uses Windows or Mac based computers for producing his videos. I'd be really interested to know that, including from everyone actually in the chat, as to what platform you use as your main computer. Morgan Wright, different subject, but what do you think of Teslas and the announcement of the semi-truck and new Roadster? Videos on Tesla always cause big arguments and in the comments. Well, I actually talked about the Tesla Roadster. I've got a new broadcast that goes out 4 p.m. every Monday, and the first one was just yesterday. And I actually talked at great length about the Tesla Roadster. I don't know enough about their semi-truck or the new electric truck, other than it charges really quickly and looks amazing. I've seen some photos, but I don't know any of the specifications. But the Tesla Roadster looks amazing. $250,000, $50,000 deposit. I think there's only 1,000 available, and so fast, and it looks gorgeous as well. But if you want to check out all of my opinion about that, head on over to the GeekVloggz channel and check out Monday Madness, where I talk about it in a little bit more detail. John from Front Page Tech says he thinks the Surface Book 2 is nice. Surface products have come a long way. We use Windows for everything. We can just get more for the amount of money we spend. Surface Book 2 looks slick. That's really interesting, because I struggled when I was trying to use the Alienware for video editing, even just ingesting the footage, and that didn't give me a great experience with the Windows platform when I was looking at using it for production. With the Surface Book 2, I'm looking at using it for something a little bit different, so more for the live broadcasts, and I'm sure, or at least I hope, it would run the Wirecast software, or indeed vMix. If I give vMix a try, I'm sure it would run it very well. I'm looking back at this vMix thing again because of John's solution, and it does look really good. It really does. A vMix call is what interests me as well, is being able to have one caller come in and being able to display that on the screen without extra or too much extra CPU usage on that as well. Up to 8 remote guests can call in. Wow, it does look good. I'm going to have to investigate that a bit more after the broadcast. I really do have to look into that. And yeah, please do hook me up with a contact on that, John. I'd really appreciate it. Elvin Yu says, Dave, why not a desktop for streaming? You can get a very powerful PC for half the price. I don't think the Surface laptop will handle 1080 at high bit rate without throttling. I'm looking at the Surface Book 2, which has got a dedicated GPU in it. And the reason I don't want to go desktop for this next machine, which isn't exactly a production machine, I'd call it more a broadcast machine, is because it's going to be used in the studio. And I keep the studio clutter free because I mainly use that up until this idea that's come into my head about future broadcasts. I mainly use the studio for the pre-recorded software, pre-recorded videos. So, you know, that's something that I don't want to put a desktop computer into the studio. I've loaded the editing room up with very powerful machines, which is where I'm still going to do the main bulk of my broadcasts anyway. John from Front Page Tech also says, referring to the vMix software, when you have someone call in, they just call in from their browser, and vMix returns the output feed to them without their audio, so they don't hear themselves. No echo. That's awesome. What an awesome way of doing it. That is really cool. I tell you what I'm going to say. if I can get hooked up with vMix to try, to just, you know, either to try or use full time, and I can try this vMix call feature, you heard it here first. I'm going to make John the first person I invite into to a video call. That's going to be really good, and we can talk about things like the iPhone 10 and the OnePlus 5T. That make for a very interesting conversation. So anyway, I'm going to sort of finish things up. I hope everyone's enjoying their evening, or indeed, I know John's in the middle of his day at the moment, but wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And I hope you found this little sit back and chat interesting. I will try and do it more often. It's just very difficult for me to put this time aside to sit back and chat with you when I've been full on work all day. It is really difficult, but I do enjoy doing it. I genuinely enjoy doing it. So thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for the tips, John, about vMix. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you all in another video, probably tomorrow, with the OnePlus 5T over on the GeekVloggz channel. See you later.